say that one more time. Somebody is controlling this remotely in Austin, Texas.
It's running in Austin, Texas right now, and I can control it remotely if I want from this app. Right here.
That tractor.
Yes, sir. So like right now, it's actually. Sorry. Getting tap happy here. Just gonna restart it. So what happens is you go into the tractor, so we can see right now it's pause. It's got the universal symbol for pause. So it's not actually running right now because he might have actually just stopped it from that iPad. It's also connected to it. But the only caveat here, I could restart this right now if I was within 1,500 feet of that tractor. Since I'm not, we have a guy down there that is able to do that. But basically what would happen when he's within 1,500 feet of that tractor, start autonomy, I'd be able to click it. There's one more warning page to say, hey, make sure no one's sitting underneath the tractor, because that is a challenging spot to see for us. And then it'll be a swipe to start. Just like you were turning off your iPhone. Swipe your finger across.
And you start it remotely.
Yep.
So 1,500 feet, so just thinking about that realistically, so somebody in the general vicinity of it, but...
On the road.
Yeah,
on the road next to the field. Yeah. Ideally. Yep. So in this app, you essentially interact with the tractor 100% from this app. So you know we talked about just using the example of an autistic person. This is all they really have to know how to do in order to till a field. We did start in tillage, so this isn't with planting just yet. But they'll be able to till a field without actually knowing anything about farming, really. Especially if the farmer, the farm owner or manager, whoever that does have the expertise in agriculture, has set everything up in advance. There's a feature in Operations Center called Work Plans that an owner, operator, whomever can actually preset settings prior to ever going to that field. So much so that as soon as they drive that tractor into the field, just inside the internal boundary that they've created, this work plan pops up that all the operator or the person that's taking it out there has to do is accept it, and then you're good to go.
So if there are learnings that John Deere knows about higher crop yields, so let's say you know that in Iowa, in Dubuque, Iowa, a farm should till X whatever, but in I don't know, in Kansas City, Missouri, or in New Orleans or wherever, it should be very different. Is that in that app? Is there guidance?
Yep. So it's not necessarily as much guidance as just data. So if we scroll down here and we look at this field, so we know we have 23 acres remaining. And if we look at this field, we have productivity. So it's doing 31 acres an hour right now. It's completed 13.9 acres. We can look at what depth it was at, how fast it was going, what fuel it was burning.
Yeah.
So, yep. But in terms of like, back to your point of, can we inform customers how to make the experience as best as possible? Absolutely.
To improve the crop yields, to have to incorporate your knowledge into what they're doing.
So one of the biggest, really the biggest thing that's affecting that is operating windows, as they say in agriculture. So if we think about the season coming up right now, spring planting season, it's really, really critical oftentimes for a tillage pass to go before the planter.
Say that one more time.
It's oftentimes really critical for agronomic and nutrient reasons to actually do a tillage pass before the planter goes into that field.
Yeah.
And what autonomy allows you to do is really continue tilling fields, for example, while you're sleeping.
Yeah.
So you set that into a big field, you let it go, it does its thing, and all of a sudden in the morning, that 200 acres, or however big that field is, that you wouldn't have otherwise been able to go plant right away, now you can go plant right away. That gets your seed in the ground sooner, and the shorter the window that you can get all your seed in the ground, the better. So it affects emergence, which then affects yield quite often.
We toured Radicle, which is doing like soil measurements. Can this through the cameras and do any soil measurements, or not really?
Nope, not today. We have other offerings for soil as well as like wind and temperature readings. That is a separate thing from autonomy that folks can have.
Okay. Or like in the morning, tell the farmer, based on the conditions we've seen, this is the kind of fertilizer, this is the kind of, you should water this, irrigate this way.
Yep. Yep, and most of them know that.
Yeah.
So with tillage, though, the things that we can tell them is, okay, Mr. Farmer, it's a really, really windy day and it's really dry. So what's the product of that? Dust when you're scratching the dirt and tilling ground. So what we can tell people is, hey, if you can, if it works into your operation, try to go as perpendicular to that wind as possible so that it's going across your tillage tool and not up into the camera lines.
Yeah.
Going with it, so especially at the end of the row when you turn, that cloud and dust is going to hover, and those cameras work just like our eyes. Those cameras cannot see the environment, and then it's going to stop. It's going to default to so there's a lot of other things like that that we can help people have the best experience.
So you're consulting in addition to providing the technology.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
We're trying to set customers up for success because this is so new, it might not come real naturally or intuitively right away.
Yeah.
One of the biggest contributing factors to success with autonomy and high performance is boundary mapping.
Is what?
Boundary mapping.
Boundary mapping.
So autonomy does require a driven boundary, exterior boundary, to make sure we know exactly where that thing can go and cannot go.
Yeah.
But so there's a lot of farmers doing that today. That's what enables like our auto track features and things that we've had out there for a long time. The thing that they're going to have to start getting used to doing is not only mapping the exterior of their field, but the interior as well. Since there's no one in that cab to navigate around gas lines, for example, that aren't uncommon to be in the middle of the field. If you put a boundary around that, tractor already knows, hey, when I get to that spot, I've got to navigate around something. It doesn't necessarily even know what it is.
Right.
It just knows, hey, I cannot go through this spot, so I'm going to go around.
It can do tilling autonomously. Can it do like harvesting?
Not yet.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So we are starting with tillage.
Okay.
And a little bit of the reason for that is tillage work tends to be a lower stress job in terms of planting is very, very, very important.
Yeah.
We wanted to make sure that we got this thing perfected, did all of our development work and testing on something that it does have an impact to the bottom line, don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
Not as severe as autonomy.
So it helps your crop yield. So, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for touring us.
Yeah.
You're Brian, right?
Yes, sir.
Great to meet you.
Very nice to meet you.